Love grows in a healthy and enabling environment. To achieve this, you must put in the work. Hi, my name is Pamela, and welcome again to another time together where we talk about everything from intimacy and how marriages can thrive in the love and in the relationship they find themselves. Everybody wants a healthy, a loving relationship. It's at the core of every human need. And more so, you have said, for better, for worse, both of us are cleaving to each other. So why not just make it work? We are in this together for a long haul. So we're going to talk about the things that every one of us, it's not just one person doing the work, it's both parties. So what are those things that we need to do as individuals in a relationship to deliberately build a thriving and healthy environment for our relationship to grow and bloom? First of all, is the almighty word, being intentional. So being intentional is being deliberate. And so when you are deliberately seeking out to achieve something, you would position yourself, position your mind, your resources in such a way that you will honor that thing that you want to achieve. And here, that thing is your big why. Why are you in this relationship? I want you to ask yourself, why am I in this relationship? What do I hope to achieve? And so if you know that why clearly, you have clarity on it, why you are in this marital relationship with your spouse, then you get intentional. And being intentional means you would want to do everything towards manifesting your why. And so when you're intentional, you would do things deliberately. And the next thing you would do after being intentional is to be the right person. You know, every one of us, we have this bucket list. The bucket list of, oh, this is how I want my spouse to be. I want him to be tall, dark, handsome, to be this person, to have this character, to always do this to me, do this for me, to be there for me. Fantastic list. So I want you to flip it. I want you to become that person on that list for your spouse. Not just making a list for the other person, but you take your list, take your bucket list and flip it and say, instead of me wanting my partner to be this, I want to be this. So when you flip it, you become the other person that you want to be in a relationship with. Then another thing is be mindful of your communication. Being mindful of your communication doesn't mean, oh, you're walking on eggshells. No. Words are pretty powerful. So because you are intentional, because you are intentionally wanting to build a healthy environment for your relationship to thrive and bloom. And so you be mindful of what you communicate verbally and non-verbally. You would choose the right words that will trigger the right emotions from your spouse, because you are deliberately building a healthy environment so that your love would bloom. Remember, nothing good happens on its own. You work for it, you work towards it to make it happen. So first, we are intentional. We are intentionally building a conducive environment for our love to thrive and bloom. And then we are being mindful of how we communicate with each other so we can trigger the right emotions from each other. Then we say our bucket list, the person we want in the relationship, we want to become that person. We flip the list of the 1001 things you want from the other person. You become that person in that relationship. Then the fourth one is, I say, build capacity. Because it's not just a straight and simple, straightforward thing to do that, oh, if I do A, it goes to B. There are going to be a lot of things that is outside of your power, the external environment. In economics, they said there are 3 angles or 3 sides to everything, that at every point in time, you only have 2 that you can handle. So there's a third one that you cannot handle. So in a relationship, you have your environment, you have yourself, and you have your other person. So if you are working on creating the right environment and you are working on being the right person within the relationship, so the other third handle, which is your spouse, your partner, you don't have control over that person. So you do your path and build capacity, transform yourself, and you keep working. And this is where I say do a rinse and repeat cycle of just developing that capacity, transforming yourself, walking through the process, and just becoming who you want to see in that relationship. And sooner than you expected, the other person will catch on, because we say after some time, people tend to resemble each other in character because they are associating with each other. So there's a word called resemblance by association. So if you continue to project goodness and your partner can feel it, can sense it, and there is love in the air, before you know it, the other person becomes transformed by your own behavior, by your own attitude. But you must get to that point of being able to develop capacity, of not doing it because after some time you say, oh, the person is not responding, so I'm backing out. Remember your why. You are in this relationship because you love each other. There must have been an element of love before you started. But because intimacy doesn't catch on just like, oh, we are married and so intimacy starts. No, that is why we are going through this process. That's why I'm going through this process with you, saying for you to enjoy intimacy and oneness in your marriage, there has to be an environment that is conducive for it to thrive. And for that environment and that environment to be built, there are some things you need to do. A recap of these things are: you have to be intentional. Be intentional. What do you want to achieve? Be mindful. Communication is very important. Be mindful of what you put out there verbally and non-verbally to your spouse. Then you take your bucket list of all the things you want your spouse to be. You become that person. If you are wanting it of someone else, then you should be able to be that person to that person that you are in a relationship with you because you love him or her. Then the last one is be able to build capacity. Build capacity to be able to repeat, rinse, and go through and become. It's like a transformation. It's a transformation. You become that person. You live your life deliberately. Be mindful. Just become who you want to see in the relationship. And before you know what's happening, the other person will catch on and say, I am sensing this positivity, because you are sending out positive energy in that environment. And so that environment has no reason but to thrive in the positivity that you are putting out there, and the other person catching it onto it. So you've got to put yourself out there and continue pushing because you want the best for yourself. And the whole idea is you want to have a conducive environment in your home, in your relationship. And so you have to put in the work. So that's about it for today. So I would like to hear from you in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe and press the notification button so you always get our videos every time we drop it on Wednesdays. Do have a lovely day.